Welcome to She Makes It Move, Prep Stage Profit, the podcast where we break down how to prepare, stage, position properties for maximum profit. I'm your host, Mattie Sheppard. Today we're talking about something I see all the time with short-term rentals. Hosts spend thousands on furniture, but their listing still struggles to get bookings. The reason is simple. They decorate the space. Mhm. It's real simple. That's what you do. You decorate for the space, but you never stage the experience. And those two things are very different, right? So, if you run an Airbnb, manage short term rentals, or if you're thinking about staging one or starting one, this episode will help you understand exactly what guests responds to. I'm your Airbnb queen. Trust me when I tell you. Wrote a book about it. So your photos determine your bookings, right? Guests decide whether to click on your listing within seconds. So think about it. If you're when you're booking a rental, right? When you look at the pictures, are they dull? Do they look cluttered? Are they confusing? You would move on quickly to the next one, right? That's exactly what the guests do. So if your photos feel dull, cluttered, confusing, they're going to move on immediately. But when your space feels clean and intentional, inviting, guests imagine themselves staying there, right? Because think about what you do when you're a guest and you're doing an Airbnb, right? You're looking for the same things, correct? Right. So that emotional response drives bookings. So let's talk about the difference between decorating and staging. And there is a difference. So, excuse me, decorating focuses on personal style, right? While staging focuses on the guest experience. So those two things are totally different, right? So guests, they want three things when they book a short-term rental. They're looking for, or they want comfort, they want cleanliness, they want clarity. Those three things: comfort, cleanliness, and clarity. They want to understand the space immediately. So they want to know, where they will sleep, where they will relax, where they will gather. So when your space answer these questions quickly, guests feel confident in booking. And that's when you get those bookings, right? Sometimes you'll get a last minute booking. Let's talk about thinking like a guest, right? So many hosts stage their properties from their perspective. We just talked about that. But guests see the space differently, right? Do we agree? They do see it differently. So they're asking questions like, will this space feel clean? Will it feel comfortable? Will it photograph well for my trip? These are the things they're thinking. Guests want spaces that feel relaxing, but also memorable. And you have some guests that will want to come back and book again and again. So they will make this their go to spot if you answer all these three questions or six questions, or you know what I'm saying? So just make sure when you are photographing the space, when you are staging the space, that you hit those pain points for that guest. And this is why the strong focal points matter. A cozy sitting area, a well-styled bed, good lighting, even the bathroom. How are the towels decorated in the bathroom? The toilet paper. You want to give them that guest retreat, right? Um, Next, let's talk about five elements every Airbnb needs. The first one, hotel style bedding. You want crisp sheets, blah, 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 blah. Crisp sheets. You want fluffy pillows. You don't want flat pillows. I've had hosts that will put these flat pillows on their bed, and I have to double up the pillows. Like that's ridiculous. And you want neutral bedding. Beds photograph beautifully when they're styled, when they're simple and fresh, right? Second, you need bright lighting. So neutral light sells the listing. So make sure you have efficient lighting throughout the entire space. You want to open the blinds. You want to add lamps where you need them. Bright bright spaces feel safe and inviting. Okay, so make sure you have plenty of lighting. We talked about this in previous episodes. Three, clean surfaces. Clutter kills confidence. Okay, clear your nightstands, clear your countertops. Minimal decor. This is not residential. This is Airbnb hospitality. Four, you want to define your spaces. So guests should instantly understand the layout, where to sit, where to eat, where to relax. That should be instant. So if a room feels confusing, bookings drop. Keep that in mind. Five, photo friendly setting. So the goal is not decoration. The goal is for photos to stop people from scrolling, right? So when they're on Airbnb, you want to make sure you're not decorating, but you want to make sure that it is styled in a resort style setting, right? Four, why cleaning matters even more than decor. So here's something most hosts overlook, right? Cleaning matters even more than styling. Excuse me, even more than styling. So guests judge cleanliness immediately. Dust, hair, stains, or clutter will show up in photos and reviews. And reviews determine what? Future bookings. So professional turnover systems make a huge difference. And let me tell you, there was an incident where I had a client who there was what the guest thought was a hair, but it wasn't a hair in the bathroom floor. It was actually a hairline crack in the floor. But do you know that that guest got a $300 credit for that? For that, it was a hairline crack in the floor, but the guest said it was a hair. Took a picture, a video, and sent it to Airbnb, and they end up getting a $300 credit. Excuse me? So yeah, you got to make sure you have all this stuff, all cracks and holes and stuff repaired before your guests get there because they will get a credit if they push the issue. Yeah, that's another story. That's another time for another story. All right. So you want to make sure that you have the proper toilet paper, enough toilet paper, because that's another issue. If there's no toilet paper, they may not even call the host and say, "Oh, we don't have any toilet paper." They may just make a complaint directly to Airbnb or to Verbal, whoever. So you want to make sure you have all these things listed. That, like I said, the dust, the hair, clutter will show up in their photos and in reviews. So you want to determine that all these things are taken care of by hiring an excellent cleaner, not one of those, oh, you can get it done for $50. And no, you don't want that type of cleaner. If you want a 5-star review, make sure you get a 5-star cleaner. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So you're like I said, your professional turnover systems make a huge difference, right? So even every surface should be clean, should feel fresh. When you run your hands across the countertop, they shouldn't feel any grit or any dirt or dust, right? So that should be clean. So when they run their hand through it, there's nothing on their hand. And people do check, trust, and believe. Every room should feel reset down to the toilet paper folds, the paper towel folds, make it look like no one else was there, that it was just designed just for them. Let's talk about a real example from the field. I worked with a host whose listing struggled to stay booked. So the location was great, the price was competitive, but the space felt crowded and poorly lit. So what we did was what I did was I went in and simplified the layout. I removed all the unnecessary items. I improved the lighting, upgraded the bedding. That was important. Nothing expensive, but the photos improved dramatically. I mean, the little simple things, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. But you have some hosts who are very cheap, who want to go on the cheap end because they done bought all this expensive furniture, but they don't want to stage the property properly, right? So they don't want to reset it properly, right? Because What happens is once you do that, the bookings increase immediately, and the guests could finally see the experience clearly. It's just simple. You go in, change up a couple of things. Go to Walmart. You don't have to spend a lot. Amazon, get some beautiful bedding. Boom, 30, 40. Ross, because I that's what I went to. I went to Ross and I got the bedding. And that made that whole room look totally different. And guess what? By me doing that for that host, bookings increased dramatically. Just the simple, little simple things. They had a lot of knickknacks all over the place. What? This is not residential. This is hospitality. Get rid of those knickknacks. You have vases and candles and all these little trinkets. Like, what? Get rid of this. Why do you have all of this stuff here? Like, come on, get rid of this stuff. This it's just it's make it too crowded. So again, once we did that, the bookings increased immediately because guests could finally see the experience clearly. All right. So let's talk about your quick upgrade, Airbnb upgrade plan, right? So if you want to improve your listing quickly, start with this. Fix your lighting, upgrade the bedding, clear surfaces, define the seating area, and take new photos and post them. That's all you have to do. It's that simple, right? It is really that simple. Have an expert come in and do an assessment of your property if you're unsure, right? So if you hire me, come in, I'm going to take a look, I'm going to do an inspection, and I'm going to let you know what you need to remove, what you can keep, what how things should be placed. Because I'm a professional stager, right? So this is my job. Find someone that can do that for you if you're unsure. So you're going to take the new photos and then you're going to repost them. You're going to re-upload them to Airbnb, Verbal, Booking.com, Travelocity, all these different places. And you'll be surprised how much difference those changes make. If you want exact staging and cleaning system I use for my short-term rentals, download the Airbnb host starter kit in the show notes. And if you want help setting up your Airbnb for stronger bookings and smoother turnovers, you can book a consultation using the link below. Thanks for listening to She Makes It Move, Prep, Stage, Profit. If you found this episode helpful, share it with someone running an Airbnb or thinking about starting one. I'll see you in the next episode.